This is my Superbrain saga. I've had this machine, Intertec Superbrain QD, it must be 11-12 years by now. I originally bought, no I didn't buy it, somebody gave it to me because I put a wanted now on eBay, and somebody very kindly got in touch with me and said come and get it. Didn't work, power supply board was dead, and I remember buying various bits of test kit and books and parts for it, all of which I've still got, and then over the years haven't had time, well I've sporadically had goes at fixing it and not got very far. So I might as well tell you, I'll show you what I've actually got for it. It's the QD model. That's the original motherboard that came with it. I have various drives, can't remember which ones came with it. There's more there, but those are the two best ones. I had those two connected to an IBM PC and they seem to read and write quite well. I need to explain from the start. A lot of these spare parts I've had since I was a sort of 11-12 year old. That spare motherboard, for example, came from 5 or 6 machines I had when I was a kid. These were the parts I managed to keep. My parents eventually made me get rid of it all because it was all taking up far too much space in their house. Yeah, so the power supply that's in it is of those original parts from my youth. I've recapped that power supply, finally managed to get it to output all the correct voltages on the motherboard at least. One major issue is that the -5 line was actually giving +12. That's because the voltage regulator, there's a 5-volt voltage regulator that connected to it. Anyway, I've kind of used this as a parts board. Yeah, there's usually a 5-volt voltage regulator there. It gets its voltage from the 12-volt rail, but it had blown and I think was just letting 12 volts through it. So the upshot of that, at least with this board, is that all the RAM chips will have been hit with 12 volts at some point, or for quite a long time before I worked that out. A member of VCFED had that board for over a year, trying to fix it on and off. Had it back in the last few months, done nothing with it, and then this is my latest attempt at getting it going again. I think even before he had it, would have had that 12 volts because I've been trying these various power supplies for a while. Not doing things systematically enough, and only really now made a proper attempt. So that board doesn't work. It used to display a block cursor on the screen, and if you press the reset buttons on the keyboard, that would go through what looked like a reset cycle. I think I must have damaged it sometime between then and giving it to a guy at VCFED, probably with his 12 volt issue, and he wasn't able to fix it, and I've put that one aside for now. And this one, yesterday I powered it up and used an in-circuit emulator that told me it had an address bus short across line 3, which is interesting. When you power this one on, the floppy drives at least come on and they spin, and there's a sort of definite fault there that could be followed and diagnosed. So that's the original power supply. Spare drives, 2 spare VDU control boards, fan line regulator thing, and this rather interesting extra, which wouldn't have come from Intertec Data Systems. This is a graphics add-on board that bolted onto the side there. That came with the machine. It originally came from Cardiff University, all of this. I can't remember if the guy used to work there or whether he's acquired it since. That's something that allocates the graphics board an address space in ROM or something. All these add-ons, like the hard drive add-ons, whatever, seem to have one of these, and from what I can work out on the internet, it's to give it an address in the sort of memory map. Micronix Pixel Plotter. Micronix goes under a different brand name in America. This is the European name for it. There's very little mention of it on Google searching. It's all sort of discrete logic and memory, possibly 128 kilobytes. I would take the thing off the front, but I can't do it one-handed. I do remember troubleshooting this, and I think it has got a short across one of the power lines, which probably maybe what blew the power supply in the first place. Yeah, because that power supply, as I said, was dead when I got it. I would imagine it's something as simple as one of the tantalum bead capacitors or something like that that's shorted a power line. But until I get a working machine, this is going to have to stay in the background. There is an advert for this that I've seen, an original advert for what it did that I've seen on the Superbrain user magazine thing that was out for a while when it was current, and it seems to give it the ability to create vector graphics on the screen, so you can do sort of 3D animations and CAD designs, things that look like oscilloscope waveforms, which surprised me. I do even have the software for it, I think. Let's get rid of these. I really want to repair that power supply at some point. It isn't just a parts thing. I'm keeping an eye on what to take off it, because a replacement regulator came from there for this machine, as did one or two other things. And this scrappy piece of cardboard is where I keep the software that came with it. Could really do with being put in a decent box. Okay, this is what came with this Superbrain from Cardiff Uni. That says MIDI 2. Utilities Bascom Act something assembly. Can't read the rest of it. Graphics Progs 1. I am hoping that is to do with the pixel plotter. That just about, I can't even read that, but it's got something on it. WSL. WordStar? Don't know. CompuStar. CompuStar, that may be of interest to somebody who has the CompuStar version. WordStar plus printer controls. Oh yeah, it came with a dot matrix printer as well, which is in that scrappy looking box there, and also came with a full box of paper. My dad used to really stack to this home and used to work as a programmer for ICI. So there's a full box of paper there, and there's even an interface, but there's like a MIDI box. In, out, THR, computer. It's interesting. That must be to do with the printer. Seems to be a Citizen printer. And then, yeah, we looked at that printer, WordStar printer, Superbrain, WordStar. Oh, it says faulty disk underneath. Microsoft Macro Assembler, Superbrain. This software supplied by Grey Matter. MIDI 4 for Microprocessor. Double-sided utils Kermit. Interesting to see what version. I see other people struggling to get Kermit onto these machines. WordStar Large Print plus Graphics Progs. Maybe that suggest WordStar was being used with that graphics device there. I might just be stabbing in the dark there. The MIDI 1, a lot of MIDI stuff with this contraption. MIDI 3, Superbrain English Spell Star. And I have noticed, I've looked at all these discs, and the surface of the discs, well, that one looks a bit worn. The majority of them are absolutely perfect, although that doesn't mean that the oxide coating won't fall off as soon as it gets tried in a drive, because I've never actually tried any of these discs for fear of they're so old and they could easily be destroyed, and it's just not worth the risk just to try them out on a machine that doesn't even work. So they're all sitting there waiting for the day. I could use my Dave Dunfield setup, which I've used on my NEC APC and that IMS 8000 there. I could try and make images of these, but I haven't got round to it. I have every single schematic for the thing as well, all that came with it. I know you can download these off the internet these days, that's what came with it. That's a magic board schematic. Very low resolution and badly printed. Get some things out of the way. In fact, the manual I've had since I was a child. That would have come from the school that the other 5 or 6 machines I had came from. CPM User's Guide, CPM Introduction, and what's that? WordStar? Yeah, WordStar User's Guide. What's that? Superbrain. All this came with the Superbrain itself, and all seems to be to do with Cardiff University. Possibly their expansions on the manual. Kermit patch, main port, link. There's some floppy disks that came with it. Anything else? It sort of covers this piece of paper that says computer, put disk into left drive, label facing right, something, shut disk door, type word WS and return, type D, make up, type something ready to type, printing, just some brief basic instructions, and it's on the back of half a telegram. Oh yeah, I have a line output transformer as well that's spare. In terms of test kit, actually no, we'll stop that now. That's basically what I've got for the Superbrain itself. All came out of that box. That one is my NEC APC gubbins, all the manuals and the software. And that's the IMS 8000 manuals and software. Lots of 8-inch discs in there. That's some old MFM hard drive ISA adapter cards. There's just other stuff up here. Okay, that'll do for now.